No one defends an abuser more than their family, especially their mother. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I have worked with perpetrators of abuse for many years, and I will tell you, and I've had similar posts to this before, as well as I've talked about this on my podcast, which has been going on for several years now. One of the biggest advocates for abusers are their family. So if you marry into their family, or if you're dating someone in their family and you're getting abused, do not expect their family to have their back or to call them out. And that's in a lot of cases, and when I've worked with abusers, and I've worked with abusive men and abusive women, most of it's been with men, but in a lot of cases that I've seen and that I've worked with over the years, a lot of those abusers have grown up seeing domestic violence in their home, witnessing it, experiencing it from their parent, and even with their mother being abused, even with their mother being abused, you know their mother will be their biggest advocate and will have their back through thick and thin, even if they have seen their son or their daughter abuse someone physically, or they've heard about any other types of abuse. They will be their loudest cheerleader. That's their baby boy, and it's like they go into mama bear mode, and they will, if the victim threatens to put their son or daughter in jail, or if even if they know, and this is the thing, even if they know, based on their son or daughter's history, even if they know that they're a pathological liar and that they've had a history of violence, their mother and family members will often defend them to the end. And a lot of times, also, what I've seen that I really haven't heard anybody talk about, but their families will also go through, you know, through their families will help them to cover up crimes and where they perpetrated violence and or even harming someone to the point of death. Family will often be the default and will help people cover up. And I've worked on some murder crime documentaries where I've talked about this, but where you've actually seen it. And some of those are posted here on TikTok. But even in murder crime, family will help their loved one cover up things like that they know that they've done, and won't even think twice about it. They'll put their livelihood on the line to cover up for the abusers or offenders and their family. And in a lot of times, again, I've seen this dynamic the most with mother-son dynamics. And it's gotten so bad, even, back when I was seeing clients and working with high-risk cases where there was abuse going on within the family, the most common dynamic that I saw would be mother-son dynamic, whereas, even if their son was offending on someone in the family, their mothers did not want to file a protective services report, did not want to report anything to the legal authorities. And so a lot of times, especially with child abuse cases, and this is my experience, so if any of you out there listening to this have a different experience, I'm certainly open to hearing it. But in a lot of cases, even where their sons were perpetrating, for example, on their daughters, a lot of times they did not want to do anything. They did not want to intervene. So that means that they would rather risk their own daughters being offended on before they would report their sons or do anything to intervene, or have any sort of legal action against their son. And that's when it got to me. So I don't, I can only imagine way before, anything was ever really reported, what would happen with that. And, so there are, it's frequently where mothers actually want to turn a blind eye. And I can't tell you how many mothers got so upset with me and threatened legal action against me because I'm ethically and legally bound to make such reports, but they did not want to do that. Um, and so that was always really interesting to see that you're willing to sacrifice one child, your daughter in a lot of cases, in order to protect the other one, but never ever, you know, that the abusive people will typically almost always have the most allyship, have the most covering up by their family members. And to the point, again, I go back and I can't emphasize this enough, and I've actually seen it in real time, and I've actually experienced it in real time too. And I've talked, over the years a lot about my experience in working with corrections. And, I can't tell you how many people in corrections, how many inmates in corrections get their mothers and their sisters and their family members to do things that they aren't supposed to do. So a lot of times they will get, their wives, their mothers and people like that, whatever, their family members, to bring in contraband. And man, I've seen some stuff where whole families will get locked up. People are willing to take the risk and get locked up to cater to an abuser, to cater to a predator. And instead of like saying, hey, you know what, this is a problem. You need to go to therapy. I cannot support you with what you're doing. Like, we need to give you a reality check. And unfortunately, I've seen this time and again. And, it is something that happens where it's like, I'm willing to turn the blind eye, or I will go to war for someone who isn't even worthy of that. Or if the shoe were on the other foot, would never actually show up for you. And at the end of the day, they know that person has shitty character, and they're willing to go to bat for that. And that's a dynamic that you see a lot of times in abusive families where there's been abuse passed down intergenerationally, families where there's addictions and all kinds of stuff that go on. But yeah, just a little, and you could probably see this play out in a number of ways, even in the news and what's going on TikTok.